My name is Sandra Madhubang. I'm the Director of Maternal Child. I work with Labona Community Health and Wellbeing, which is a division of Labona Children's Hospital. The Tennessee Breastfeeding Hotline, the state actually announced that they want somebody to take care of the Tennessee Breastfeeding Hotline to apply for the funding. So September 2013, we got the award from the state and we started implementing the program. The program went live partially November 2013, and then January of 2014, we went live all over the state.
It is new, a new concept, and although I worked as a lactation consultant in the hospital for 6 years, postpartum NICU, and we did have a warm line, so I was used to taking calls. This is a little different because, we receive calls 24/7. Our backgrounds, we have RBCLCs and CLCs who are clinical lactation counselors. They can give mothers the support in using that information, and the information they've been trained to use helps mothers and babies.
I had heard about the breastfeeding hotline, of course, and it's been a big part of our coalition effort, and Helen Scott is a good friend and colleague, and we work together closely. So when I heard about the hotline, we were all very excited and very supportive, and getting regular updates and everything. And so I was excited to be asked to help as a consultant for the hotline, and it's just been a great journey. This hotline is so essential. I think it's working. I mean, their calls have doubled since the first 6 months, and just astronomically up and up.
We have monthly staff conference calls, and this is, so Helen can update us on, new resources, any feedback from the state. My role there is to get feedback primarily from the other lactation consultants, because I'm also responsible for updating the questions. Like, we record reasons for calling, so if they're getting a lot of phone calls about a certain topic that might not be in our bank, we've had a lot of questions like that.
Fortunately for me, I had positions previously that worked from home, so I knew that was a scenario that works pretty well for me. You call into the hotline number, but whoever is on call at that time, the call automatically routes to your phone. So I can be in the kitchen, I can be in my office, I can be in the den when a call comes in. So it provides me some flexibility, but at the same time meeting the needs of families. Some moms are quite emotional, and my background is in counseling, so that definitely helps me to draw from those counseling skills to help her to gain more confidence.
At the end of the initial call, we ask mothers if they intend to continue to breastfeed. 90% of the moms report that they do intend to breastfeed. When we follow up with the moms at 4 weeks, 87% have reported that they have continued to breastfeed. So it's been successful on helping moms to be able to continue to nurse their babies. On average, we have 1,100 calls a quarter. This past June was our highest number of calls that we received per individual month, and we had 486 calls. Looking at the trends of the calls, I anticipate in this next year that we could exceed 600 calls a month.
The hotline is 100% a part of your support system. I definitely recommend having that number on your bedside table, wherever you may have your telephone. You need to have that number in hand. I encourage all moms, do not put that number to the side. You're going to need that. You'll need that extra support from professionals who are willing to freely help you any time of the day, any hour, night or day. You'll need that.
I was immediately comfortable. I was in a position of need, and I knew that whoever was on the other end was knowledgeable about breastfeeding. I had already read that much about the hotline. And so I felt like they knew more than I knew, if by nothing else than experience. I expressed everything that I had to say, and the person on the other end was very understanding, very empathetic, and just addressed every one of my concerns one by one.
I learned about the breastfeeding hotline after my son was born. The hospital gave us some information, and I first called when he was 4 days old. Even though I have an older child, this was a new baby and we were having some feeding issues, and I called the hotline at 2 a.m. and they were there to help me. To me, one of the most amazing things about the hotline is it alleviates the financial burden of having to pay for a private lactation consultant. It alleviates the transportation burden that you have to physically go and see someone. And so by calling the breastfeeding hotline when it's convenient for you and when you're in that moment of need, it's just an amazing resource that I can't even describe. To be able to call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you get the help the moment that you need it. It can really be the difference between a mother continuing to breastfeed and a mother who decides at that moment, I'm just going to give up.
The Tennessee Breastfeeding Hotline is not just for moms, but it's also for family members to help provide support to new moms, in addition to a valuable resource for practitioners in the community, other physicians, WIC clinic counselors. The outcomes of our program show that it's successful at helping moms succeed at breastfeeding. And breastfeeding is very important. It has benefits for the mom and the baby.
When a mother breastfeeds, there is a connection. Look at the skin-to-skin contact that the baby and the mother has. And even for the father can also do skin-to-skin contact. But for the mother that is breastfeeding, there's an emotional bond that they create. So when we have places like the hotline or people that are promoting breastfeeding, people can call in and get the informed knowledge of what the breastfeeding actually does, so that they can adopt it. Because some people are not just doing it because they don't know how. They think it's very, very complicated. They think it's difficult. Just knowledge is power.